far. Out front tonight, Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger. He's a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, it's great to have you on. Thanks so much.
You bet. Thanks.
The president was asked if he was planning to attack North Korea. Here is what he said. Listen.
Mr. President, will you attack North Korea?
We'll see, is what he offered up. Congressman, do you think the president should attack?
No, we're not there yet. I think the military option has to remain on the table. This is what a lot of people, when you see them talking about what's going on, don't fully, I think, grasp, which is the way to have an effective diplomatic, what's called IOP, instrument of power. You have to back it up with a military instrument of power. If nobody believes that we have a military option or that we'd be willing to use it, there's zero motivation to China to change its behavior, and there's zero motivation to North Korea to denuclearize whatsoever. So I think there has to be a military option on the table. There is one, albeit messy, and it's not something we want to go to. But I think that is the next to worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is kind of where we are now, which is North Korea has shown potentially it has the ability to miniaturize a nuclear payload. It's tested an H-bomb, and now they're talking about potentially shooting an ICBM towards Guam. Just like with Russia, the United States, we have very good transparency with our nuclear weapons. In fact, a few weeks ago, Russian assets flew over the United States voluntarily to see what our stuff looks like. If we saw a missile launch from Russia and we didn't get an answer on the red phone, the assumption is at that point that it's a nuclear attack. This is a dangerous position we're in right now.
Well, you have said in the past, I've seen that you said the threat of North Korea is very real, but the hysteria is entirely unnecessary. Does the nuclear test this weekend change that? Do you still think the hysteria is real?
I think it changes a little bit. Look, they're farther advanced than we've thought at basically every step here. But the other thing, when I talk about hysteria, it's not hysteria or it's not concern of what's going on. We should be concerned. The hysteria is, for an example, I was talking to a couple, this is probably a week or two ago, that canceled their vacation to Hawaii because they were worried about the nuclear threat from North Korea. That's hysteria when you're thinking, in essence, irrationally about the concern. So it's to Americans to say, whether it's terrorism, whether it's North Korea, look, you live in the best, most powerful, greatest country in the world. Go about your life, but pay attention to what's going on because this is very real and very serious.
Does the president need to ask Congress, come to Congress first for permission before taking any military action against North Korea?
No, I don't think he needs to. I think if he came to Congress and we were able to pass an authorization of the use of military force, that would be very beneficial. It would send a strong message that America is united behind it. Doesn't mean he has to use it, but I think that's part of that military instrument of power to back the diplomacy. But under the War Powers Act, he actually has 60 days if he feels there's a threat to the United States or our allies to act, then inform Congress like he did in Syria. And then if there was a broader, war that lasted way beyond that, of course, Congress would need to step in.
So Congress is heading back to work. You're all getting back to work tomorrow. The president is also planning a big announcement tomorrow on so-called Dreamers. The latest word is that he's going to end the Obama-era program, which, of course, protects young people who are brought to the United States illegally as children, but with a 6-month delay to allow Congress time to act. Do you have any confidence that Congress will?
I do. I'm not as pessimistic as a lot of people I've heard talk about it. Let me just say this. I wish he wouldn't end it. I voted to support DACA. I think people that are brought here as children and know no other country should actually be given an opportunity to be here legally. But that said, there's a lot of Republican support for a program like this. I assume there's a lot of Democratic support for it. I'm not as pessimistic as some people. I think we can actually get this done in the next 6 months, and it depends what tone the president takes. If he says, I'm ending this because I believe illegal executive order and Congress needs to handle this through the law, then I think we can get it done. If he says, it's a terrible program, it needs to go away, it'll be more difficult in our party, I think, to get the votes, but there's plenty of us that would vote to support something like this.
Do you think he's punting or shirking responsibility?
Do I think who's shirking?
The president with this decision, if this is what he announces tomorrow?
Not necessarily. I think, look, I think his position, he obviously is very strong on immigration enforcement, immigration control, which I am too. I believe we need border security. But I think it depends on what he says tomorrow. I'm looking forward to his statement where if he says, like, hey, look, I want Congress to act on this. I just think the executive order is the wrong way to do it. That's one thing.
Congressman, always great to have you on. Thanks so much.